there's one thing that Pokemon card collectors can agree on, it's that cards can get expensive. Especially if you're just starting out your collection. And as someone who's been collecting for a while now, I feel qualified on giving you some tips and tricks on how to collect on a budget. Here are my 5 tips for starting a Pokemon card collection on a budget. Well, getting into the Pokemon TCG can be one of the most rewarding and fun hobbies you can ever have. It can also be a giant money pit if you don't do things right. In this video, we're going to be covering ways to save money, ways to get cheaper product, and ways to actually get Pokemon product at retail price. But of course, before we start the video, don't forget to subscribe. We love Pokemon over here on this channel, so if you want to see more videos like this one, don't forget to subscribe. Tip number 1, how to actually hit Pokemon Center drops. Pokemon Center drops are the best way to get product at a normal price, but of course with millions of people, including bots, trying to, swarm in and to get this product, it becomes a lot harder and more difficult to actually get your hands on these product drops. Worry not, however, I do have some tips and tricks on actually securing some of those drops. For starters, Pokemon Center, I tend to notice drops between 11 a.m. Eastern Time to 3 p.m. Eastern Time. If you're not already signed up to get emails when new TCG products drop, you can do that by signing up for an account on the Pokemon Center and selecting to receive emails about new products. Making a Pokemon Center account, if you don't already have one, will also make it a lot easier to actually secure drops during checkout because it will be able to autofill some information for you. Make sure the email that you use for your Pokemon Center account is one that you're going to have easy access to. So personally, I use the one that is linked to the email app on my phone. That way I can check basically whenever I have my phone if the Pokemon Center has released a drop. Be warned, however, Pokemon Center will not email you for restocks, which is something I learned the hard way. So yes, if you are looking for restocks, they will only email you about new sets and new products being released for the first time. They generally don't email for restocks. However, I have gotten emails for restocks that aren't directly for restocks. And by that I mean, they will send you emails that are like, new plush out, new plush, and at the bottom it will say see what's new in TCG, and sometimes that will be like your little warning / hint that there is a restock happening. This doesn't happen all the time, but it happens sometimes. It happens enough for me to notice it's a pattern. So any email you get from the Pokemon Center, make sure you check out the Pokemon Center as soon as you get that email and see what's going on it. Alright, once you hit a Pokemon Center queue, there's a few tips and tricks I have for that as well. One, obviously, make sure you're on a reliable device with a reliable source of internet. If you're in somewhere public where you can't really access a reliable source of internet, I do recommend switching to your data before entering a Pokemon Center queue, or maybe just leaving the queue quickly, switching your data on, and then coming back. Because one thing you do not want happening is your internet going out right as you're about to enter the Pokemon Center. Nothing would suck more, honestly. Also, while you're waiting in queue, try not to touch anything on your screen. Don't open any other tabs. Don't refresh. This will reset the queue, and sometimes the queue will refresh itself. So try not to do anything else that's going to make it more glitchy or finicky than it already is. Personally, when I enter a Pokemon Center queue, I just take my phone and I put it down and I say, I'm not touching that, I'm looking at it from a distance. And once I get in, that is when you can start touching and playing around with things. But even then, do not browse. Get in, get out. I have had so many times where I had a purchase, had it in the cart, went back to browse just to make sure I had what I wanted, and page refreshed, got sucked back into the queue, and I had to wait like another hour to get in. And that's gonna bring me to my next tip on how to get into the Pokemon Center, and that is have multiple devices waiting in the queue. Now this might be a bit controversial, like, oh, you're taking up queue spots. If you have multiple devices, like a phone, an iPad, a computer, try to get at least 2 devices in the queue back to back, because the amount of times that I've been kicked out of a queue and I had to go on my second device, and if you do them back to back, the one will get kicked out and you should get right in on the second one. And the amount of times that my backup device has saved me from having to wait hours in queue, insane. It's probably been around 3 times, which isn't a lot, but it's weird that it happened 3 times. I wouldn't recommend having more than 2 devices though, because it will clog up the queue and just make it more difficult for everyone. However, the bots are more the problem than the multiple devices, so. Alright, here's tip number 2, and that is don't try to catch them all, which I know is literally the slogan of Pokemon, but you don't need to do it. You don't need to catch them all. If you're just starting your collection and you're looking to start it on a budget, I don't recommend trying to complete full entire sets right off the bat. It can burn you out, and in my opinion, it's better to dip your toes into collecting than doing a full, belly flop into the water. Like, just see if you like it first before you commit fully. And honestly, modern sets are getting so big, it's becoming almost impossible to complete them within a reasonable budget. So I recommend setting more fun and achievable goals for yourself. This can be goals like collecting your favorite Pokemon, collecting themed binder pages, collecting ocean themed cards, stuff like that. Stuff that is achievable and more budget friendly, especially because when it comes to completing sets, there can be a bit of a time constraint and pressure put onto you to complete the set before Pokemon stops selling it, which will lead you to probably impulse buy and panic buy a lot more product and even single cards, versus when collecting stuff like your favorite Pokemon or like ocean themed cards, there's less of a time constraint to, you know, catch them all before it's gone, because you're just kind of like, oh, I'm just gonna pick up a Pikachu card here and there at this card show, you know, I'm just gonna pick up a couple Pikachus, oh, you know, I'm just gonna pick up a couple cards for my binder, versus like, I need to find Black Bolt and White Flare product immediately before it's super expensive. It's just easier, I think, to narrow your goals down to something more specific versus something more broad and unattainable. Tip number 3, singles versus sealed. I recommend this for people trying to collect on a budget for many reasons. Singles are a great way of getting exactly what you want and knowing that you're gonna get exactly what you want. And singles are almost always cheaper than trying to pull the card yourself. Not all the time, but almost always. However, if you're looking to buy singles from a new set, I recommend you wait 1 to 2 weeks after the set is released, as singles tend to be most expensive for a set during the first week it is out. Now, obviously, this isn't true for all sets. There are some outliers. Some cards will be cheaper during the first week, some will go up, some will go down. And if you're interested in tracking the pricing of any cards that you're wanting to buy, I recommend the website Price Charting. On Price Charting, you can see the average price of all sales that have been made for a card, and you can also see a little handy dandy graph that will show you the pricing trend of the card, and you can see if it's going up or if it's going down, and if it's a good time to buy for you personally. Of course, part of the fun of collecting is pulling cards yourself, so I totally understand if you don't want to go the singles route, but just keep in mind it is a really great option if you're collecting on a budget. But I know personally, I really love opening product, so I try to balance buying singles and buying sealed product. Tip number 4, if you're looking to buy cards for cheaper than their market price, my advice to you is looking for poor condition cards. And that means, you know, lightly played, moderately played cards, because a lot of these cards, the damage tends to be on the back of the cards. And if you're building a binder or just displaying cards on a shelf, a lot of the times you can't see the back of the cards. And a lot of these cards go for a lot cheaper than their near mint counterparts. Tip number 5 is broaden your horizon. If the set or card you want is really out of your price range, try looking at other languages. For example, the Articuno IR from Journey Together is running for around $25 to $30 in English, whereas in Japanese, the card is only $8. This is because hit rates tend to be higher in Japanese. Japanese booster boxes tend to have a guaranteed set of hits that you will get, whereas English, nothing is guaranteed. Japanese cards are also way higher quality. The holo and texture on Japanese cards is so much better than English. I highly recommend picking up some Japanese singles if you are looking for cards on a budget. There's also so many different languages of Pokemon cards. You can get simplified Chinese, you can get Korean cards, and those actually tend to be even lower than Japanese cards as well. The same goes for sealed product as well. If you're itching to find something to open, you can take a look at other languages. For example, the Chinese gem packs are so cool. I believe volume 1 is going for around $40 to $50 Canadian right now. I opened one personally and it was so much fun. If we even take a look at something like Terrestrial Festival, a Japanese booster box going for around $120 Canadian right now, and a Korean one is going even lower at around $80 Canadian, which is still expensive, but when you compare it to an ETB of Prismatic Evolutions, which you only get 9 packs, I've seen them going from anywhere from $150 to $200 Canadian. That's almost double the price for one less pack than a Japanese booster box. You get 10 packs of Terrestrial Festival in a Japanese booster box. Buying non-English cards is a really great hack to get on cards that are basically the same as English, if not better, for way cheaper, and it's something I implement in my own card collecting quite a bit. Those are my 5 tips that I have for collecting cards on a budget. If you liked the video, don't forget to subscribe, and don't forget to actually go like the video. We're trying to hit 1,500 subscribers here on the channel, and again, if you like Pokemon, I'm sure you would love the videos here. Thank you so much for watching this far, and goodbye for now.